who took part in creation of our human form. On one of your first lectures in Moscow in 2001 or 2002, you narrated how human was originated. You told how it proceeded and is proceeding somewhere in the infinite dimension now. You told, hey, who wants, come and join us. You want to create this structure, don't you? By this allegory you explained there how the Iissiidi structure of a cosmic human was created. The question was in that someone is still making form somewhere, despite of that everything already exists and is already created in slagentность, голохронность, and simultaneity. Is it true? Exactly, we're doing that, we who are more developed. We are interested in that process. From what dimension do we commence to get involved, too, into that process of any types of birvulярtность creation? There are difficulties with dimensions determination, because the dimension notion is very subjective. What comprises the fourth, fifth dimensional diapason in our type of birvulярtность just represents quite different types of dimension, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, second, third. So it is about union of diverse civilizations which creates something corresponding to purposes and tasks to gain the experience. They created following the program of Luvumический type, program of real human development, by diverse conceptions of human development. But indeed, the most active participation is demonstrated by creatures from the fifth, fourth dimensional diapason, if considering from our Luvumический perspective. They use the experience from so-called supraconsciousness and collective subconsciousness. There the following occurs. There are beings who belong to the second dimension. When they got into our type of birvulярtность, they commenced to realize themselves as beings of the third, fourth dimensional diapason, and reveal all features thereof. Again, we need to take into consideration that our planet develops specifically, that is, physical, astral, mental, causal globes of our planet have their own development programs. Our type of birvulяртность, that is, Luvumический, is determinative for our planetary creature in the current condition of exhiberation, regime of presence in space-time. That means that other protoforms, not human forms, just can't achieve the development levels which we achieved there and will achieve in future. In order for such development, there are other planetary creatures whose conditions are suitable for development by our level in the current types of vibrations, in the current densities. But we cannot develop by our current level in those densities. Here the Earth plays the exclusive role for the human, Luvumический type of birvulяртность, improving their own collective subconsciousness, supraconsciousness, superconsciousness protoforms get the possibility to develop by our level on other planetary creatures, where just the Luvumический type of birvulяртность is reachable, during faster and more effective development. So in order to respond to your question, I can say that various creatures came here for the purpose of self-realization through our self-consciousness forms. They came from other planets, other star systems, and got engaged in the vibrational levels of our self-consciousness, levels of general development, which correspond to their optimal existence levels. That served as the mechanism for organization of separate Iissiidi centers. Moreover, distinct levels of Iissiidi centers are provided with creative realization of diverse civilizations. By the way, we should remember that there are 7 levels of Iissiidi centers. Those civilizations are far from luvomический type of birvulярность, but they have some tendencies in common with our birvulярность type. They have some general principles based on something that allows them to get into our focus dynamics, which are structured with dominance of all creatures, informational creatures, of the pure cosmic qualities, all love, all wisdom, and all will, all intelligence. Most of civilizations of luvomический type represent the basis for our focus dynamics and play the role of creators, regulators of our genome. Some of creators' interpretators also act as luvomический former creators. However, most of interpretators represent non-luvomический types of birvulярность and realize here their own interests. Namely, the possibility of realization of interests through the current human form, as well as any other forms, attracted many cosmic civilizations for the purpose of making our formotype. Moreover, there were several trials of creation. One of the latest was about 70,000, 75,000 years ago. But it is wrong to say that, because the dimension was different then. But we can compare our conceptions of dimension, given the qualitative features which we demonstrate in the third, fourth dimensional diapason now, with those conceptions of about 70,000, 75,000 years ago. Those times, the last coordination among many civilizations occurred, which consisted in organization of our nouveau former type, ordinary human form, just in the current terms of exhiberation, regime of presence in space-time. If considering the luvomический type of birvulярность, so the creatures from the fourth, fifth dimensional diapason took part in the creation process, mostly. They were you and me. Another group of creatures was made up by representatives of other civilizations, very similar, very дувуляртные, as related to the luvomический type of birvulярность. But the rest of creatures structured the collective unconsciousness basically. There are protoforms of most of animals which inhabit our planet. They set up structured resonationally their own factor axis, karmic channels. that was done to keep in touch permanently with their own civilizations, with their own collective subconsciousness, by means of these karmic channels. Not with collective subconsciousness of yours, but with theirs. That is called by me own subtransivne subjective ODS, allotrotum system. Every type of cells ensemble, every region of brain has its own connection with NVK. For subconsciousness, NVK are represented by flu-lu complexes, not ODS. Yes, for subconsciousness there are flu-lu complexes. However, it is wrong to consider flu-lu complexes referring to the fourth, fifth dimensional diapason, because there is the transitional diapason, 3.75, 4.25, between ODS and FLC. This diapason is the part of NVK that is provided by ODS and another part of NVK by FLC. Summarizing the respond about biorobots, finally, we can say that we will be able to create not biorobots by a full-fledged form of any type of birvulartness, but we will be capable of it only in case of presence of interactions with other civilizations in the commonwealth on the levels of subconsciousness, superconsciousness, and ultraconsciousness. Yes, but again, with their collective subconsciousness, superconsciousnesses, and ultraconsciousnesses, because otherwise no amplifikationist developing process, no eglereliftivnost stimulation for development happens. There is the mistake. Many people imagine our development on the position that we had been protozoa originally and then started to develop into more complex systems. Actually, we have been going back to more complex system while synthesizing some of the most destroying interactions, destroying interrelations, dissinational distances between our current forms and future ones. We separate ourselves from their civilizations of collective unconsciousness, influence, and provide for us the transition to more qualitative types of interrelations at the same time. Development is non-existent as such, how it is considered by scientists. The ordinary conception of development originates from unawareness of that our more qualitative formotypes are existing in parallel with us. They are connected with us very closely by inherent to them abilities, peculiarities, interests, and so forth. Scientists, techmen think in the position that simpler systems should be increased to more complex, but they don't understand that this complexity already exists, is already defined by presence of far more complicated energy informational systems, which provide this increasing. Take any living creature exhiberated living in certain regime of space-time in the current terms of existence. An amoeba or a virus, they both have their own systems of energy informational interrelations. They have their own DNA, therefore they represent far more complicated structures than something might be looked under the most powerful microscope.